Hi, everyone. In this video, we're going to take a look at the decisions we have to make in the integrated business planning process. So let's go over to the share screen. We'll bring up the PowerPoint that goes with it. And off we go. So we're going to be playing 6 rounds, and each round is additive. So as you play the first round, you'll go through the decisions, you'll make your decisions as a team, and then you'll turn around and we'll calculate on our side. You'll get to see the results. I'll send you a debrief, and then you'll be working to do a small paper on what you got versus what you thought, what you would do different, and then you'll move on to the next round. So each round adds on top of it. So in this first round here, if we look at the 4 roles, we've got trade units across purchasing and sales. And for each of these decisions on the screen here, we're going to have a separate video as well and show you where it's at. But just to give you a brief overview here. So in this first round, trade units. So whether you're going to ship or buy boxes, pallet layers, pallets, truckloads, or whatever. Delivery reliability for purchasing, service level for sales. We're looking at what on-time expectation you have of your suppliers. If you're in purchasing, what you're going to promise your customers for on-time delivery and sales. What levels of quality do you want in purchasing when you're bringing in from your suppliers, as well as payment terms for both sales and purchasing. This is your accounts receivable, accounts payable. This is also your, part of your working capital conversation, but how fast will you pay your suppliers or how slow, as well as how fast or slow you will collect from your customers. Order deadline and sales will be when the orders have to be into the Cool Connection to be shipped the next day to the customers. So we set the deadline there. Whether or not you want to sell a complete assortment to customers or not. And then if you do not sell the complete assortment to the customers, then you can go within each of the assortments and decide who's going to buy what in terms of customers. So a complete assortment does allow for a discount because you're buying everything. Forecast, you have to predict what the volumes will be, and you'll be making a forecast later on in round 3 in terms of budgets and forecasts of sales. Supply chain, safety stocks. Inventory we carry for demand variation and lead time variation versus lot size, which is how much you bring in from suppliers at any one time, whether it's 1 week's worth, 2 weeks worth, 3 weeks worth, whatever. Production interval is the comparable thing on the production side. So if you have a production interval of 7, let's say, then when the simulation sees it's time to place an order on the factory, it's trying to build up to 7 days worth every 7 days. So it looks at what's on hand, what's on order, and builds the difference to get you up to 7 days worth in this example here. Okay. Now the warehouse, both how many pallet spots you want to have in the warehouse for the size and how many employees working in the warehouse. And then in the factory, the bottling line, how many shifts. So you cannot add individual people in the warehouse, or excuse me, you cannot add individual people in the factory line. You have to add by whole shifts. Financing, you'll make decisions on how much of a loan to take out, what the accounting current ratio promise is going to be. And if you hit that, then you get a bonus for that, as well as you'll see in there, we have a working capital simulator, which allows you to predict what the working capital is going to be. So those are first round decisions. Second round, we're going to add a new customer to the mix here. What this is going to do, and that's why it's the integrated business planning process. IBP tries to balance supply and demand. And so to force you to deal with this we're going to add a new customer, which is going to then make you face the situation of much more demand than you have any kind of capacity for. And so based on that, you've got to figure out what's the optimal customer mix to have and product mix we're having. So we're going to put you in that position to now have to deal with supply versus demand. And so you better have decided on a process you want to follow as a team to make decisions and collaborate also by this point. So we'll add this new customer in. Round 3, we're going to have you now start budgeting and forecasting your costs for purchasing, revenue, operational costs, financial costs. You will forecast what you think your sales are going to be and what your different levels of profitability and expenses and everything else will be. And then you will lock in that forecast. And then you have to lock in the budget for it as well. And one of the things you're going to have to deal with as we go through the rest of this process is you're going to have to balance the gap between budgets and forecasts and results. So that's the financial side, which is what IBP is. IBP is sales and operations planning plus the finance. So you not only now have to manage the customer supply and demand, you also have to manage budget versus forecasts. Okay. Round 4, how well you can manage that gap will be reflected in the stock price. So we give you a new key performance indicator for stock price. And then round 5 and 6, we swing back to the supply chain side of things. And in round 5, we give you a chance to set Incoterms, which is the freight terms. You can change suppliers if you want, purchasing. We also give you a process improvement here, and they're all at a cost, and they're not all guarantees that you're going to want to do it. So again, you're going to have to do the analysis that goes with it, and that's part of learning the financial side of a business and integrated business planning. And then finally, in round 6, no new decisions, but we're giving you the chance to refine your decisions, refine what you've learned in the finance and everything else, and give you a chance to improve one more time. So that's our 6 rounds of decisions here.